There's a reason some people can't stop thinking about certain Scorpios. Even after the relationship ends. Even after the friendship dies. Even after years pass. Because some Scorpio birthdates don't just enter people's lives. They consume them. Not with noise. Not with fake confidence. But with a presence so intense, people feel it in their chest before they even understand it. And tonight, we're exposing the Scorpio birthdates that burn hotter than fire. The ones with dangerous attraction. The ones who stay calm while secretly feeling everything. The ones people desire, fear, and never fully recover from. But this isn't going to be one of those soft astrology videos. Because the truth about Scorpio energy is darker than most people can handle. These souls don't become powerful because life was easy. They become powerful because life kept testing them. Until they stopped breaking. And if your birthdate appears in this video, you may finally understand why your energy has always felt too intense for ordinary people. So lock in. Because this gets personal fast. November 7th, the Scorpio people secretly fear losing. November 7th, Scorpios are emotionally addictive. That's the only way to describe them. People think they can handle this Scorpio energy at first. Until they get emotionally attached. And suddenly, they realize they've never met anyone like this before. This birthdate carries a dangerous mix of emotional depth and emotional control. Which makes them incredibly hard to read. One moment they feel warm, protective, passionate. The next, cold, distant, untouchable. And honestly, that unpredictability drives people insane. Because November 7th Scorpios don't reveal themselves completely. Ever. There's always another hidden layer beneath them. Another secret emotion. Another thought they never say out loud. Another wound nobody knows about. And the craziest part, most people never realize how much pain these Scorpios are hiding. Because they've mastered emotional composure. Even when their heart is collapsing, they still look calm. That's what makes them dangerous. You never truly know when they're hurting. And by the time you realize it, they've already emotionally detached. This birthdate doesn't scream when betrayed. They disappear emotionally, quietly, and that silence destroys people later. Because losing a November 7th Scorpio feels like losing emotional warmth itself. Especially when they once loved you deeply. And trust me, if this Scorpio truly loved you, you felt it. Their attention becomes consuming. Their loyalty becomes protective. Their emotional energy becomes unforgettable. But if someone abuses that loyalty long enough, everything changes. The warmth disappears. The effort disappears. The emotional softness dies. And suddenly, the Scorpio who once would have done anything for someone acts like they never existed. That emotional switch is terrifying. Because once November 7th Scorpios stop caring, they really stop. No fake love, no emotional chasing, no begging, just silence. And honestly, that's colder than revenge. October 29th, the Scorpio with dark magnetism. Some Scorpios attract attention naturally. But October 29th Scorpios, they attract obsession. There's something about this birthdate that feels emotionally dangerous. People sense it immediately. Even strangers notice them, not always because of appearance, but because of energy. October 29th Scorpios walk into rooms carrying intensity without trying. Their eyes notice everything. Their silence says too much. Their presence feels powerful even when they say almost nothing. And people become curious instantly. But here's the problem. Most people mistake their mystery for emotional weakness. Huge mistake. Because this birthdate is emotionally stronger than people realize. These Scorpios survive things privately. They don't announce their pain online. They don't beg for sympathy. They don't collapse publicly. Instead, they suffer quietly, then rebuild themselves silently. And one day everyone notices the transformation. Suddenly the Scorpio who was once underestimated becomes impossible to ignore. That's why people from their past often return later. Because October 29th Scorpios evolve after heartbreak. Pain upgrades them. Every betrayal sharpens their intuition. Every disappointment makes them more selective. Every emotional wound teaches them how to protect their energy better. And eventually, they stop tolerating fake love completely. That's when this Scorpio becomes almost untouchable. Because once they learn their value, their standards rise dramatically. And honestly, that scares people, especially people who only appreciated them after losing them. November 14th, the most emotionally intense Scorpio. If you've ever loved a November 14th Scorpio, you never forgot them, no matter how hard you tried. Because this birthdate doesn't love casually. They love intensely, deeply, completely. And that emotional intensity changes people forever. These Scorpios crave emotional depth more than surface attraction. Anyone can flirt with them. But very few people can truly reach them emotionally. That's why this birthdate tests people constantly. Not intentionally. They're just trying to figure out who's real. Because November 14th Scorpios fear fake love more than loneliness. And honestly, after what many of them experience in life, that fear makes sense. This birthdate often goes through painful betrayals early. The kind that permanently changes how they trust. The kind that teaches them people aren't always who they pretend to be. And once those lessons hit, these Scorpios become emotionally guarded in ways that shock people. Suddenly they stop opening up easily. Stop explaining themselves. Stop giving endless chances. And people call them cold. But they're not cold. They're careful. Because when November 14th Scorpios finally trust someone, they give them access to the deepest parts of their soul. And if someone damages that trust, the emotional pain becomes unforgettable. That's why this birthdate becomes so intense later in life. Not because they enjoy emotional walls. Because experience taught them they need them. But the next Scorpio birthdate. This is the one people misunderstand the most. Because on the outside, they look emotionally controlled. But underneath, there's a fire burning so intensely, even they struggle to contain it sometimes. And if this next birthdate is yours, you've probably spent years pretending you're okay while secretly fighting battles nobody sees. November 21st, the final stage of Scorpio energy. November 21st Scorpios feel emotionally ancient. Like they've lived multiple lifetimes already. This birthdate carries emotional wisdom that usually comes from suffering, not comfort. These Scorpios understand loss deeply. They understand betrayal deeply. They understand emotional survival deeply. And because of that, their energy becomes incredibly powerful. People feel safe around them, but also intimidated by them. Because November 21st Scorpios can see through people frighteningly fast. Fake personalities don't impress them. Manipulation doesn't work on them. Empty words mean nothing to them. They read energy first. Always. That's why this birthdate struggles with shallow relationships. They crave depth, real loyalty, real emotional honesty, real connection. And when they don't find it, they'd rather stay alone. That independence becomes magnetic later in life. Because unlike many people, November 21st, Scorpios stop chasing validation. They stop begging people to stay. Stop proving their worth. Stop shrinking themselves to make others comfortable. And suddenly, their power becomes impossible to ignore. That's when people become obsessed with them. Because confidence built from survival hits differently. And this Scorpio energy, it feels almost impossible to replace. The dark truth about these Scorpio birthdates. Now here's what most people don't understand. These Scorpio birthdates burn hotter than fire because they've survived emotional hell. That's the truth. Pain transformed them. Not motivation quotes. Not easy lives. Not luck. Pain. Heartbreak taught them intuition. Betrayal taught them boundaries. Loneliness taught them self-respect. And eventually, they stopped fearing emotional endings. That's why their energy feels so strong. Because once someone learns how to survive alone, they become very difficult to control. Very difficult to manipulate. Very difficult to destroy. And honestly, that's what makes Scorpio energy unforgettable. Not beauty. Not mystery. Not attraction. Resilience. The ability to walk through darkness, and still come back stronger. Final message. So, was your Scorpio birthdate mentioned tonight? And if it was, did this feel a little too accurate? Because one thing about powerful Scorpios is this. People usually realize their value too late. After the silence. After the distance. After the connection disappears forever. That's when the regret starts. Because losing intense Scorpio energy creates a void people struggle to replace. And maybe that's why your journey has always felt different. Maybe you were never meant for shallow connections. Maybe your fire was always meant to transform people. Even the ones who underestimated you. If you're still watching, you're not here by accident. Go ahead and subscribe. This content is made for you.